Hey everybody, it's Jason Blah here, and it's time for part 4 of the Monday Q&A with Jack and I. So let's get this done. Why deadlift is considered a significant more stressful on central nervous system than basically any other movement, and thus in many programs, especially for novices, its amount to be done is way lower than other basic lifts, in particular compared to squat, which seems to be almost as demanding as deadlift. Well, the squat isn't as demanding as the deadlift. The deadlift, you use more weight, and you have to pull it from a dead stop with no eccentric loading. On a squat, you can compress energy into your body on the eccentric. You start at the top and you lower the weight. It compresses energy into you that you can store. From a deadlift, you don't have any energy stored. It's a straight pull from a dead stop with no preloading, unless you can do a little bit of a bar roll or a hip drop. You have no way to pre-store or preload energy into your body, and you have to develop immediate power, or it goes so slow that you can't lock it out. So that is why it is so taxing. It's because you need an instantaneous release of a large amount of energy with a weight that is absurdly heavy compared to what you would do on most other lifts for high bar speed with no energy stored. And it uses almost every muscle in the body. It uses around 80 to 90% of the muscle mass in the entire body generally gets used on the deadlift. And that's why it is very stressful on your nervous system, and it's hard to recover from. Pretty straightforward. All right, next question. What's your opinion for high sugar sweets, e.g. a pack of Skittles post-workout? I've read a few articles. It breaks down the same as normal sources of fast-acting carbs. Could this be used for a post-workout carb? In all honesty, guys, the thing is, post-workout carbs, you can't really absorb nutrients that well post-workout. And that's why the whole post-workout nutrition thing gets frustrating, because your blood flow is reduced to your GI tract anyways. You absorb everything slower post-workout. You can't spike your insulin post-workout unless you're injecting fucking insulin. You can't do it through your GI tract. Now, sugars can do it a little better, but you're still absorbing those slower than you would most other times. In fact, a sugary carb like that probably gives you about the same glycemic response post-training in some ways that a low GI carb does at other times of the day, because of the reduced blood flow of the GI tract. It's all going to your muscle tissue. So it's a little overhyped, but yeah, if you wanted to do that, if you needed to replenish glycogen stores quickly, like because you're training twice a day, that would be a valid reason. I don't see any issue with just eating some Skittles or any sort of sugar like that to do it, even though we could argue about the fructose, not all of it going to muscle glycogen easily. It's like 50% glucose also, which is, and you're getting an insulin response from it. So it's perfectly viable. I just think that it's overhyped for people who only train once a day. You're training multiple times a day, glycogen replenishment becomes quite a big deal, though. For, a pretty high workload training athlete doing 2 a days, it becomes critical. But for most recreational lifters, you're probably not going to see any measurable difference over the course of a year in your progress if you focus on your post-workout nutrition or not. It's only athletes with very, very high workloads. All right, next question. How taxing is one set of isolation exercises to failure, and how many times per week can you do it? Natty. Guys, doing one set of failure on isolation movements is going to have almost non-existent, unless it's a big muscle like your quads. If it's your biceps or your delts or your pecs, the impact on your overall recovery is going to be almost non-existent. If it's done through muscle failure, not nervous system failure, meaning now if you're hitting a 4 or 5 rep set to failure, that's your nervous system. But if it's just purely through like metabolic fatigue, as you're doing high reps, like 9, 10, 12 reps, I wouldn't worry about it. It literally isn't going to make enough of a difference to make a difference on your recovery if you want to finish every single session with 1 or 2 sets of an isolation movement to failure. It shouldn't measurably affect your recovery. You shouldn't notice any difference. You go do it on a bench press or a squat, it is a different ball game though. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.